Ever wonder how a company that started out making arch supports for chickens became one of the biggest sneaker giants in the world? It sounds crazy, right? But that's the real story behind New Balance. Let's lace up and take a walk through history. Our journey begins in 1906 in Boston, Massachusetts. An English immigrant named William J. Riley founded the New Balance Arch Support Company. Now, Riley wasn't a sneakerhead. He was fascinated by balance. The story goes that he was inspired by watching chickens in his yard. He noticed how they maintained perfect balance on their three-pronged feet. This observation led him to design a flexible arch support with 3 support points, mimicking the chicken's foot. His goal wasn't to create fashion statements, but to provide better balance and comfort for workers who spent all day on their feet, like police officers and firefighters. For the first few decades, New Balance was a niche company. It was a one-man operation for a long time, with Riley himself acting as the salesman. He didn't have a storefront. He would travel and sell his arch supports directly to workers. In 1927, he hired a salesman named Arthur Hall, who eventually became his business partner in 1934. Hall was instrumental in getting the word out, pounding the pavement and convincing people that their feet didn't have to hurt at the end of the day. The company focused solely on these orthopedic products, building a reputation through word of mouth among people who needed serious foot support. The first major pivot for New Balance came in 1938. This was the year they designed their first ever running shoe. It was for a local running club, the Boston Brown Bag Harriers. This shoe wasn't mass-produced. It was a bespoke creation, crafted from kangaroo leather. It was lightweight, durable, and most importantly, it featured Riley's signature arch support. This marked the company's entry into the world of athletic footwear, but it was still a very small part of their business. They continued making these custom shoes for local athletes, but their bread and butter remained arch supports. In 1956, Arthur Hall sold the company to his daughter, Eleanor, and her husband, Paul Kidd. The Kidds kept the business running in much the same way for a few years. They understood the core value of the brand, comfort and fit. But the world was changing. The 1960s saw a massive boom in fitness and running culture across America. Suddenly, everyone was jogging. The Kidds saw an opportunity. This led to the creation of the Trackster in 1961. This shoe was a game changer. Why? Because it was the world's first mass-produced running shoe available in varying widths. Before the Trackster, you bought shoes based on length. If your foot was wide or narrow, too bad. New Balance recognized that fit was everything for a runner. The Trackster's ripple-patterned sole also provided superior traction. It wasn't marketed with flashy ads or celebrity endorsements. Instead, its popularity grew organically through YMCA programs and college track teams. Coaches would recommend the Trackster to their athletes, and its reputation for quality and fit spread like wildfire within the running community. Despite the Trackster's success, New Balance was still a tiny company. By the early 1970s, it was being run by just 6 people, making about 30 pairs of shoes a day, and sales were handled through mail order and a few dedicated sporting goods stores. The company was at a crossroads. It had a fantastic product but lacked the scale to compete with emerging giants like Nike and Adidas. Then came the turning point. On the day of the 1972 Boston Marathon, the company was bought by its current chairman, Jim Davis. Davis was a marketing-savvy entrepreneur who saw the immense potential in the brand. He kept the company as commitment to quality and domestic manufacturing, but knew they needed to scale up and innovate. He didn't want to lose the soul of the brand, but he wanted to share it with the world. Under Davis's leadership, New Balance exploded. The 1970s running boom was in full swing, and New Balance was perfectly positioned to ride the wave. In 1976, they released the New Balance 320. This shoe was a masterpiece of design and function. It was the first to feature the now iconic N logo on the side. But more importantly, Runner's World magazine voted it the #1 running shoe on the market. That endorsement was priceless. It was like getting a Michelin star for a restaurant. Sales skyrocketed from $100,000 a year to millions. What set New Balance apart during this era was its unique model numbering system. While other brands gave their shoes flashy names, New Balance used numbers. The idea was to emphasize the shoe as a piece of technical equipment, not a fashion accessory. The number indicated the type of shoe, the activity it was for, and its level of technology. A higher number generally meant more features and a higher price. This strategy appealed to serious runners who cared more about performance than hype. Throughout the 80s and 90s, New Balance continued to innovate. They introduced iconic models like the 990 series, which debuted in 1982 with a then unheard-of price tag of $100. They marketed it with the tagline, "On a scale of 1,000, this shoe is a 990. It was a bold statement of quality, and it worked. The 990 became a status symbol, loved by runners and, unexpectedly, by a whole new audience, the style conscious. This brings us to New Balance's cultural impact. While they always focused on performance, their understated dad shoe aesthetic started to catch on. The gray suede, the simple N logo, it was an anti-fashion statement that became a fashion statement. Tech moguls like Steve Jobs famously wore the 992 model. In hip-hop culture and streetwear scenes, particularly in places like Washington, D.C. and the UK, New Balance became a staple. They were seen as a mark of discerning taste for those who were in the know. A huge part of the brand's identity is its commitment to Made in USA and Made in UK. While most competitors moved their entire production overseas to cut costs, New Balance has maintained factories in the United States and in Flimby, England. This allows them to control quality and craftsmanship to a very high degree. These domestically made shoes carry a premium price, but for many customers, it's a price worth paying for the quality and the story behind it. Today, New Balance is a global powerhouse. They produce footwear and apparel for a huge range of sports, from running and basketball to soccer and skateboarding. They've embraced collaborations with high-fashion designers and streetwear brands, creating some of the most hyped sneaker releases in recent years. But through it all, they've managed to stay true to their roots. They're still obsessed with fit, comfort, and quality. From arch supports inspired by chickens to a global cultural icon, the story of New Balance is a lesson in staying true to your values. It's a story of balancing innovation with tradition and performance with style. So the next time you see that classic N logo, you'll know the incredible history behind it. It's more than just a shoe. It's over a century of helping people find their perfect balance. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this trip through sneaker history, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories like this. See you in the next one.